All right, everybody. Welcome. This is another one of our interviews with animators. Today I have Jenna. Is it Gian? Gian?
Geen, yeah.
Gian. And she is the head or one of the top people within my uh create sorry, it's Creative Mind's Eye or
Mine's Eye
Mind's
Creative,
Eye
yeah.
Creative. I'm sorry, I apologize.
No, that's fine.
Uh What's funny is I looked you up and it came out to something, at least in America, it came out to like some inspirational book person. I was like, that doesn't look right. So then I typed
Oh,
in
Lord, yeah.
company again in South Africa and then it came up correctly. Um, where would my students have seen any of your company's work?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of like projects with different production houses, and different networks across the globe. So
Hmm.
we've animated on things like F is for Family, which is on Netflix. We've done animation for quite a few, like Dallas and Robo, which was on YouTube,
Hmm.
Premium at the time. Give a Mouse a Cookie. If you're into preschool stuff, that was,
Okay.
I think, on Amazon Prime. Yeah, so we've done like some cool shorts as well that are on Nickelodeon, that are Cartoon Network.
Hmm.
So even yeah, Netflix I think as well. So across the board, if you go onto our website, you can just see some of the cool stuff we've been doing. And yeah.
Great. So, where does I always ask this of everyone I kind of interview, where does your love or appreciation of animation come from?
So yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in telling stories, like right from when I was a kid. I wanted to write stories, create worlds, that kind of thing. And I actually got into film school. So it
Mhm.
wasn't actually animation, studying, script writing.
Sure.
And it led me to my first job, which was writing for an animation company in South Africa. It was the first one of its kind all the way back in 2010, I think it was.
Which company is
And
it?
they're no longer around.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, there's lots of stories
Sure, sure.
about that. But yeah, so I was sort of interning there, writing. It's my first gig. It was they had just taken on a crazy series that like I think they sort of thought that they could do it and they bit off a lot more than they could chew and it was
Mhm.
just crazy. And I was sort of thrown into the production role
Okay.
of, like project management. And I don't know, it was a weird thing, but like I felt like I found my people, like my
Okay.
tribe, I guess. And like it was just, yeah, I loved being a part of the entire pipeline and understanding, you know, every single aspect and how it all fits together. And I knew that there was nothing that I wanted to do different. I knew that this is like sort of the career that I needed to be in.
Okay.
And yeah, that company unfortunately went under.
Uh, that was like
And
2010-ish, you said?
yeah, yeah. And at the time, there wasn't much happening in South Africa when it comes to animation. So we ended up, well, especially 2D animation,
Sure.
not long form series, that kind of thing, which is where our passion is. And yeah, so a couple of us decided to get together from the ashes of that company and start our own thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's haven't looked back since. So kind of an interesting one, but my love was really about telling stories
Mhm.
that entertain, evoke emotion. That's always been my love. Yeah.
Sure. Did you have any animations or animated shows, movies that you liked as a kid or as a teenager?
Oh yeah, I mean, sure. I was a typical girl, loved all my Disney
Princesses?
uh yeah, Disney princesses. I mean, sort of now my inspirations are a little bit more gritty and dark and
Sure,
that
sure.
kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've always just been in love with anything that tells a good story, not necessarily medium. I think it was only I mean, I've always been into my toons, but I think it was only really when I sort of got into animation as a career that I really started like seeing all the nuance and stuff that goes into it, which blew me away. And so, yeah, so now it's very different from when I was a kid.
Cool. So you guys work, obviously, you talked about working with productions that go on Netflix and Amazon Prime and so talk to us a little bit about what can you do, what the process is. So I'm assuming it's like, oh, you get hired and they're like, okay, we have this script. I saw that cute little animation that your company had on their website where they kind of was
Oh,
like,
our
here's the
explainer.
script, give us your budget, like I thought was great and sort of the old
Yeah.
uh silent film style. But like talk to us like talk to us a little bit about the process, kind of the soup to nuts. You have a client, they come with you with an idea or a story that they want you guys to be a part of. How does that work?
Yeah, so each project is different, has a different sort of start. We're like a full service studio, so we can
Mhm.
do everything from script to screen. But sometimes our pipeline would start, from just animation or from script phase or concept phase. So it
Mhm.
depends how it works. But in a typical pipeline, a client would approach us and say they have an idea. Um, sometimes the idea is more fleshed out, sometimes it's not. So then we kind of conceptualize that into um, kind of like a springboard or,
Mhm.
something that fleshes it out a bit more. From there, we turn it into a script, which then turns into a storyboard. Um, and the storyboard is basically the blueprint for everything. It tells you exactly what characters you need, what assets you're going to have to design, the kind of key poses the animators are going to be using.
Right.
So it's basically everything. And a lot of the work that's the step that we call pre-production.
Sure.
Um, then we go into building all of the assets and designing them. So this all happens before we even touch animation. It's about like, okay, cool, this character is interacting with this prop in this environment. And because we work in 2D animation, each time the camera changes angle, we have to design a new version of that in the
Right.
different angle. So, you know, in a series, there could be thousands of props, that you have to design and stuff like that. So it's quite a lot of work just to get to the animation phase. And yeah,
Mhm.
then once everything is designed, the scene gets set up for our animators, and our animators start working on their specific shot.
Okay.
They animate it. That then the working file will then get given to our compositing team. Our
Mhm.
compositing team will then add all the cool glows and effects
Right.
and stuff like that and sort of merge the world and the characters together. And that's each shot step by step. So, and then
Sure.
our editor will then assemble it all, put layer some music and sound, and VO would have been recorded before. But yeah, so it's different with every project. But that sort of is the pipeline, whether you're doing like a short ad or clip to, anything like of feature length even.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for something like the Atom Ruins Everything or F is for Family, can you give my students kind of like what is the timeline really, realistically?
Depends on the animation because some animation takes longer than others, some
Sure.
styles longer than others. So if you're looking at uh, something more, I guess, simple in animation, for instance, like an 11 or yeah, I'd say our team at the moment, we're creating a show more on the preschool side of things. So it's a bit
Mhm.
of a more simple style. We're
Right.
about 19 animators working on it and takes us about 10 days to animate it. But that's just one side of the production.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and that would be like, I think, probably about a 15-minute give or take.
Okay.
So you're looking at anywhere complexity wise from like if it's pure like frame by frame traditional where it's hand
Sure.
drawn, which is the longest. it could be like 12, less than 12 frames, 10 frames a day, maybe,
Mm.
per animator. And so
Right,
there's
man.
24 frames a second
Right.
usually. So yeah, it's like half a second, and that is just on roughs. Like, it has to get passed to, our cleanup crew. So it's different mediums. Obviously, your hand drawn is going to take the longest. It's the most amount of detail, takes a lot more resources to get done. And then you have more of your cutout styles, which, F is for family, and Atom Rims, everything is more on the sort of hybrid.
Sure,
So
yeah.
that's creating, yeah, puppets almost that you can then move around. Um, so yeah, depends on the medium, depends on the actions as well, how detailed the storyboards are. It could take anywhere between, you know, like on average 60 to, I don't know, around 150 frames a day per animator, if it's more your sort of hybrid cutout.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure my students will want to know which program do you guys use?
We use Toon Boom for animation. But
That was gonna
then
be my guess.
yeah, yeah. It's a great program. I'm not a loyalist to Toon Boom at all. We've
Sure,
actually been trialing quite a lot of programs. It's just the one that has the most amount of flexibility in terms of being able to do hand drawn as well as
sure.
cutout. So yeah, and we're not really just limited to the rig as well. We can draw what we need, if the rig doesn't sort of cater to it. So yeah. But yeah, there's tons of other software out there that's less expensive that does
Sure, yeah.
amazing things as well. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your job. So, I mean, we kind of talked about, your whole team and kind of
Hmm.
said, you have 20 animators and you're doing, and it takes, 10 days, but then you have all the other people. Give people kind of an idea. So I'm sure my students kind of understand what the role of an animator, but can you talk maybe a little bit about your role and what you're kind
Yeah.
of doing your day to day?
So I am a studio runner, but I'm my sort of day-to-day job, other than just, being a director of a studio, is I am head of production. So not as fun and creative at, I mean, it is. It definitely has its creativity.
Right.
Um, but it's basically your oversight over the entire production. So from literally script right up until screen, it's my job to really like client liaison, um, obviously team management, project management, that kind of thing. But
Mm,
it's more details. I obviously am privy to all the financials,
sure, sure.
I've got to make sure that things run according to schedule,
Right.
clients, budget.
Right.
Um, I'm hiring teams, that kind of thing. Yeah. So
Sure.
I wear many different hats, but then also I am involved in a lot of the continuity editing, assembling. I also do, like, I have my own show that I'm writing as well, so that's
Oh,
pretty
nice.
cool. Yeah, so it's yeah, wear many different hats, but mostly like head of production.
Great.
Yeah.
Um, so, we talked about kind of the process. What are some if so let's say a lot of I kind of mentioned this before the interview, kind of like I have students who kind of go in different directions, but like, do you have any advice for students who might want to kind of go this direction of applying for a studio or doing more
Hmm.
professional level work? Do you have any advice for them in any sense since you've been in them
Yeah.
for a while?
Yeah, look, I mean, we deal with students all the time, which is great. In South Africa, we're a growing industry.
Hmm.
And we see students from lots of different backgrounds. Students that have come through like tertiary education, like they're at a really good animation school here in South Africa.
Sure.
Um, and we see students that have come literally self-taught, variety. And the one thing is that you have to make sure, I guess, when applying. I don't know if it applies to the States, but I'm pretty sure it does. I think it's just a case of like visa and stuff like that when it comes to degrees and getting your master's or whatever it is. it's portfolio based. This is
Right, of course.
entirely creative.
Right.
So, I mean, a lot of the time I'm not really looking at your CV going, oh, you
Right, right,
studied
right.
here. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. I mean, there's some like some schools that you're like, if you like drop hint like, oh, I studied at Gobelin, you
Sure.
expect a level of quality. But for the most part, I am looking at who you are as a person, what your passion is. So like just a bit of
Sure.
an introduction letter, and then really just proof of like if animation, because in animation, there's many different departments. It's not just, a role of an animator, you could be a storyboard artist or whatever. But if you
Sure.
are applying, for animation specifically, I want to see your knowledge on your fundamental understanding of the 12 principles. So a lot of
Always
people
goes
don't
back to 12
necessarily
principles, no matter what.
always. A lot of people are like, oh, look, they'll shove everything into their showreel and, track it.
Right, right,
I'm like, you could literally, like, I could show my animation director a bouncing ball that someone has done,
right.
and he can tell whether or not they're going to be good. It's really understanding like all of those principles, the foundation stuff, foundational things. And if you can get that right, like
Sure.
worry about the programs, worry about like those kinds of things later. You
Yeah,
focus,
yeah, yeah.
focus, focus on the 12 principles, getting those foundational things right. And, solid drawing, whether you're going into 3D or 2D or whatever it is gonna really help as well.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I always tell my
watch,
students it's always
yeah,
about the fundamentals. I mean, because
yeah,
most
it is.
studios are they'll assume they can teach you their style of drawing, or at least, coach you into how their particular
Yeah.
studio draws something. I had something similar. It wasn't a studio. Well, it wasn't an anime. It was a game studio, and they wanted me to like they had a certain style. And I was like, okay, they showed me some examples. I'm like, I get what you're doing. Like, I get what
Yeah.
your style. But it's like, yeah, they're under. It's always like yeah, doesn't you can get that later, and it doesn't. There's always going to be the cool new program. It doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Uh,
Everyone gets so focused on the program. I'm like, it's not, it's a tool at the end of
right,
the day. And like you can learn a program in a day,
right, right, yeah.
but fundamentals take like,
Take
we're
time.
still
Yeah.
learning fundamentals. They take time.
Sure,
And like you say, adaptability as well. So it's a case of not you're not going to really get hired based on like your style. I mean, if you're
sure,
amazing and you've got like a huge social media presence, you might be one of those lucky people that like big brands will come to you because of your specific style.
sure.
But for the most part, if you're going to be working in a studio, it's about your adaptability. So I do mention like the bouncing ball and stuff for sure. It's the fundamentals, but like maybe try things that are more like snappy animation, soft
Mhm.
animation,
Sure,
animated animation on threes. Like build a library, and by that I mean watch a lot of content, which is cool,
right,
but don't just watch it for the sake of entertainment. Like
sure.
analyze.
Analyze the
And
data.
yeah, I know my animation director, he'll find something that he really like is like blown away by, he'll, bring it up and he'll watch it frame by frame to see how they work with their arcs, to see like, is it on animated on twos, ones? Is it animated on threes?
Sure,
How did they make this motion snappy? What is the emotion that they're trying to sell? Is it isolated
right.
animation? So yeah, film analysis as well is a big part of it. So, and that will help with your adaptability because not every project's going to be the same. So, yeah.
I always kind of ask everyone I interview, where do you see animation going in the future? Like,
Um, I think that like, I mean, I know that like AI is like a big like looming dark
sure,
cloud over our industry. I'm not really worried about that. I see it as more of like hopefully just tools that are going to help us get to the fun creative stuff faster.
right.
Um, but yeah, I think that like with the rise of like indie animation as well, like that is really cool to see that there's just so many awesome foreign and like just like diverse stories that are coming out now,
Mm,
different styles. I mean, I feel like there's a trend now that like the big studios like Disney are kind of playing it too safe. And then you
mm,
just see like just some animations blow up, and it's because they're trying new things, they're experimenting with styles, with stories, with
Right.
so I hope indie animation continues to grow, and I hope that like massive big global houses are going to just try and pour and invest money into just original stories versus just,
Right. Well,
playing it safe.
the fact that Flow won Best Animated Feature,
Amazing.
from a,
Yeah.
I don't even remember the name of the studio. It was definitely not someone I'd heard of before, so
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that they won best, and they used actually Blender, which was great too, because I teach 3D.
Exactly.
For those of you who don't know, Blender is a free program, so it's not like you didn't even technically have to spend, large amounts. I think sometimes people worry
Yeah.
like, oh no, I don't have the money to do this, and it's like, no, no, you can do it. It's just, it may be a different path than whatever Pixar or Disney or
Blender all the way.
yeah.
Blender all
So,
the
but
way.
yeah, it's
Like, yeah. I mean, even us, like we could use like we also dabble in 3D, not necessarily for like if we're making props and stuff like that, vehicles for
right.
our shows and whatever. It's like Blender is like the way to go, and a lot of
Sure.
studios are turning to that. It's just like, especially with Toon Boom, it becomes very clunky, and
Hmm.
it just, yeah, works better. But yeah, I mean, like free software is. I was having a chat with Toon Boom actually because we were trialing Blender for 2D animation as well, and
Uh,
it's great. Like the grease pencil and
that's like,
like like also you can rig stuff in it as well, so you can kind of do cutout. And I was like saying to Toonbim, like, are you scared? Because this is a free software. Like, are you like like the amount you charge versus a free software that listens to their community is crazy.
well, I can tell you, I interviewed a guy. He's more of an engineer I mean, he was teaching at RISD, Rhode Island School of Design and Animation, but he's kind of more on the technical engineering side of it. And he
Yeah,
basically what he gets hired to do is he gets hired by Adobe and other companies to talk about how to integrate Blender, because Blender has become so popular for reasons that are kind of obvious, that it's a pretty, as someone who has a background in 3D, it's like, I'm not going to lie and say Blender's as powerful as Maya, but it's also not $5,000 a year, which is a lot of money for
yeah.
people starting up. So it's like, a lot of smaller studios or independent artists are using Blender, and Adobe is realizing that and like, oh crap, we're gonna have to find a way to integrate this if we want to keep that that market of people. So it's interesting.
It is interesting, and it's at least the barrier to entry when it comes to animation. I mean, yeah, we could go back to the simple days of pen and paper, but
Sure.
like I think that having free software, like, more people are able to do more things instead of buying a $5,000 software or
Right, right.
whatever it is. So yeah, like it's I think that like with the tools, they're just getting better and better. So lots of cool, new, more experimental things, new software, new tools. So I just see it like opening up a bit more time for us to play around with styles and story and focus on the cool stuff versus, you know, the sort of slog work.
Sure, yeah.
And yeah, I'm hoping that it doesn't go the other way. But yeah.
Going the other way, too much 3D, you mean? Or
No, no, just like with AI, I mean,
uh,
there's always the conversation of like chatting to these sort of big studios that are like, I don't know, looking to like for AI to write their scripts or, like cut down on the amount of like
or yeah.
So I mean, but I still think you're gonna get stuff that's generic and people are definitely gonna notice that. So
Right.
I don't know.
It's
But
become a
yeah.
style in the way that like early 2000s internet animation was very obviously
Yeah,
by
yeah,
Adobe Flash, right? So everything
yeah,
Adobe
yeah.
Flash look. And then in 2010s, there was a lot of motion capture. And
Mm,
so you can see all the influence. So who knows what's going to happen? Like, I don't, but it's definitely like, I feel like at the moment, AI is like a style. And like, hey, if you like that style, great, I suppose. But like,
yeah.
when something becomes an overused style, people, regardless of whatever it is, get bored of it. And it's like, if
Mm.
that's all it can do, then it's like, well, all right. But yeah, so hopefully, we'll see what happens and we'll see how,
Yeah.
like you said, it hopefully it becomes a tool that
Yeah.
kind of does more of the lower level, nitty-gritty, tedious stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's like my animators have an existential crisis about this daily. I hear
Right,
them having all sorts of chats, and I'm just like, no, like imagine you had the time not to focus on like cleanup, for instance. Not
right,
necessarily cleanup, but just like, uh, just I don't know, creating like 1,000 views of a prop. Like,
right, right,
if it like, you focus on making it look like the most amazing thing that you can make it look like, and it can maybe generate a couple of different varieties of angles or something, things like that. Like, and they're like, oh yeah, that would be cool. It's like, yeah, it would be cool. So yeah, I think it's a tool. And
right.
but don't be like, you have to stay ahead of tools
Sure.
because then you'll be left behind. So, yeah.
Yeah, my friend's name Arnie Wong, and he worked on Tron, and he's part of that like
Hmm.
60s, 70s, 80s team. And one of the things they had trouble with is they really had trouble making that conversion to digital. Like the
Yeah.
90s is like when the digital kind of, instead of doing things by hand, it's like, all right, we're gonna use Photoshop or whatever tool they were using. So it's like
Yeah.
you do have to kind of stay ahead of the curve, otherwise, because he had
Yeah.
trouble, and some other animators kind of in his age range of like kind of 70s or what. It's like they
Yeah.
just weren't used to using computers, and it was hard for them. And so uh
Yeah.
but if you stay up with technology, even if it's less hands-on, it's still, you'll understand how it works.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. You have to. You have to.
Great. Do you have any kind of inspirational words or closing words? You don't have to. I just kind of
Um,
hear from my people.
I
Leave your
think
mark on the students of tomorrow and all
uh just like try not to sound like a motivational like
that.
card or something.
Right.
I think that like it can be daunting when you leave college or school and try and find your path, but
Uh-huh.
um animation, like for me specifically, it's maybe not necessarily like what I thought I would end up doing, but
Sure.
it's actually like kind of found me in a way, and it's given me purpose every day. It's hard
Sure.
and it's grueling at times, and but at the end of the day, for me, it's like what I wake up wanting to do. It's
Telling stories.
making my mark, and it's
Right.
yeah, you like yeah. For me, it's like getting stories out there and telling your story and growing an industry is so cool.
Right. Yeah, of course.
So no matter
Especially for you,
which
because
part,
you guys are kind of on the cutting edge of what's going on in South Africa in terms of this industry.
yeah, it's been really cool to be able
You
to
guys are
sort of be part
trailblazers,
of
you would say.
yeah, yeah. But as an animator, I always say it's look, it is and it can be like an amazingly fun, I always like, you can always tell when people start out, they're like got the deer in the head, like they're just so much energy, so enthusiastic about stuff, and like, that is so great to see. So don't let that like light dim,
Sure.
there will be the hard like days like you're doing this every day. So there will be projects that you don't like.
Right, right.
I actually had a chat with our team today because we're doing a preschool show, so it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Sure,
Of
sure.
course, we prefer like other kinds of content, but I was like, use this as an opportunity to push yourself. Find inspiration where you can. Um, it might be a boring shot, but look at it and see how you can make it not boring, and like
Right.
see everything as a challenge in a way. Having a thick skin, you absolutely are going to fail and fail
Sure.
and fail and fail and fail, and we can only learn through failing.
That's what I tell my
So,
students. I
yeah.
tell them, I'm like, I don't care if, when I give them large scale projects, like, I mean, obviously I want you guys to do well, but it's like, it's not whether you got it exactly right. It's like, okay, if it didn't work out the way you wanted it to, why didn't it work out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to like analyze that. Like I didn't spend enough time. I need to work on this skill, that skill. I need to be better with this program that I'm supposed to use, like blah blah blah. Because like it
Hmm.
that's the point. Like it's fine to fail. It's no I think sometimes at least in America there's kind of this culture of you got to be perfect all the time and everything's got to be
Yeah.
interesting. And I'm like, no, 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 that's not real. When you go to a museum and you see famous artists, that's like 10% of their work. Like they have some I've personally seen horrible drawings by Picasso. And everyone likes to go like, oh, this I'm like, no, this is a horrible drawing. You're just pretending it's
Yeah.
nice because it's Picasso and he's famous. But like I as an artist, I'm like, no, 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 this is horrible. And it's fine. He doesn't everything he does doesn't have to be amazing. It's just like that's
Yeah.
not realistic for that's not a
I
realistic expectation. Like
I don't believe in talent, I'll be honest. Like you have to hone a skill, you know? So I think that people have an aptitude to want to do something, but
right.
everyone starts off, not knowing how to do a skill properly. And so like it's really about like who you're learning from, taking in the don't see it as like negative crit, see it as like creative crit and like absorb it. And then, like you'll see from version one to version however long it takes for it to get approved,
Right.
like how much better it feels. And because it's a team kind of uh, it's like a factory line, there's so many different parts to animation. Like, yours is just one tiny little portion of it that you are engrossed in for like 2 to 3 days working on something very specific or a week or whatever it is. But there is a bigger picture to that, and there are people who are trying to give feedback in the general side, like of
Right.
because they know the bigger picture. So there's so much that goes into crits. So don't get it like it's just having like a hard skin in and having that resilience is like key to a career in animation or in the arts in
Right.
general.
In general. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, everyone's opinion is going to be subjective and,
Sure.
understand that you're working on something that at the end of the day is for someone else to view it. You're not, unless it's a personal project and, that kind of thing. So keep audience in mind, keep clients in mind, keep studios in mind. But yeah, um,
Great.
it's fun. It's a great, awesome career. So yeah.
All right. Where can my students see either your work or your stuff or your studio's work?
Our website is pretty much, yeah, I think it's got most of our stuff. We're really bad with social media, I'll be honest. It's
Sure.
a skill we need to learn how to do. I feel like I'm ancient and have not kept up with any of the social stuff. So
Sure.
yeah, just yeah, go onto our website to check out any of the cool things that we're doing.
Mhm.
And yeah, we post on there a lot. Our socials, like we do post on Instagram every now and then if there's like internships or,
Sure, sure.
things like that. But yeah,
Great. Well, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
cool. Yeah.